N3 and the HTC Desire Eye. We'll be giving you guys our thoughts on camera performance, indoor, outdoor shots, low light, front-facing cameras, video, and lastly, which one we prefer more. So let's go ahead and get started. The HTC Desire Eye features a 13 megapixel camera in the front and the back, each paired with dual tone LED flash to give your photos the right color temperature when using flash. The OPPO N3 on the other hand features a motorized swiveling 16 megapixel camera that looks quite unique, that's paired with a dual LED flash. Not dual tone, unfortunately. The HTC Desire Eye also has a dedicated camera button, which we don't really see on the OPPO N3, but in terms of video, both are able to film in 1080p and 720p. Unfortunately, no 4K video recording is available for either. The OPPO N3 also comes with this thing. This is the O-Click. It's essentially a Bluetooth wireless shutter button for the N3, and you'll also be able to rotate the N3's camera by using the 4-way button on the O-Click, which is pretty cool. Moving on to camera performance, there's not a whole lot I can say in this department. Both phones are incredibly fast. Launching the camera app on each phone is almost instantaneous, and there isn't any noticeable lag when taking pictures, which a lot of big phones struggle with. Autofocus is good as well, though I did notice that the OPPO was just a bit slower than the HTC Desire Eye. When it comes down to basic camera functionality like white balance and exposure, I much prefer how the OPPO N3 handles that. I noticed that in some cases when I was using the HTC Desire Eye, I would run into white balance and exposure problem, which is quite disappointing. Whites would sometimes turn yellow, and that problem I rarely ran into using the OPPO. Now, putting those problems aside, indoor shots in a well-lit office, for example, were both superb. The shots on the Desire Eye were definitely more contrasty than the subtle shots found on the OPPO N3, and the shots are much tighter on the Desire Eye compared to the OPPO's wider angle lens. Now, I personally like the more subtle and wider look produced by the N3 because I can frame shots better and I can edit better due to less saturated photos. Now, outdoors and good lighting, shots were relatively the same. However, there's a slight punch to the image on the HTC Desire Eye, which I kind of like. Now, in terms of low light when shooting in a dark studio or after the sunset, both aren't that great. Lack of optical image stabilization in either devices really show how they struggle in low light. Shots were noisy, sometimes a bit blurry too, and I also noticed that the HTC Desire Eye struggled to focus on a subject under low light conditions, which I couldn't replicate on the OPPO N3. Needless to say, both are okay. They're not the best under low light conditions, but not a lot of camera phones are. These obviously aren't the DSLRs, but the results still aren't horrible. Now let's talk about taking selfies for a second, shall we? These two phones are taking selfies to a whole different level. You've got a wide-angle 13 megapixel on the Desire Eye and a swiveling 16 megapixel on the OPPO N3. Not a lot of phones can take better selfies than these two, which Snapchatters and Instagrammers might find especially useful. You've got a front-facing LED flash to help illuminate your face, and I think that's what's awesome about these two devices, having the versatility to take really great photos. The photos I got on OPPO N3 are very detailed. I got the same subtle look I mentioned earlier, and as for the Desire Eye, photos are wider, contrasty, and are sharp. Although I think images are sometimes over-sharpened. Though you can always tone it down under the settings, but if you love taking selfies and want to be able to take the best selfies without having to awkwardly turn the camera around like this, these two cameras are your best bet. Let me stop the video for just a quick second and thank our friends over at lynda.com. Lynda.com offers thousands of engaging, easy-to-follow video tutorials taught by the industry experts to help you learn software, creative, and business skills. Membership starts at just $25 per month and provides unlimited 24/7 access. Try lynda.com free for 7 days by visiting lynda.com/technobuffalo. Moving on to camera software and UI, HTC's stock camera app is pretty straightforward. There are a few settings you can turn on or off and sliders you can move to get the right settings, but I feel like there should be more to tinker with. There aren't any special shooting modes unlike the OPPO N3, and I feel like the HTC Desire Eye is missing that. The OPPO N3 comes with a few pre-installed shooting modes like Auto Panorama, Expert Mode where you can enable manual focusing or change ISO and exposure. There's also Ultra HD mode which will take 32 or 64 megapixel shots using software algorithms, and to be quite honest, I don't see much of a difference in quality other than file size. Now other than those shooting modes, you can even download a few more for free including RAW, Double Exposure, and Super Macro mode. Just the thought of shooting RAW on a mobile device is pretty crazy to see, and seeing that on the OPPO definitely shows an advancement in technology. Now having RAW files will definitely eat up your storage space and will take longer to edit, but if you're really into photography, you'll be able to do more with your photos shooting RAW. You'll be able to get back the highlights, mess with the shadows and mids, and many more. Now in terms of video, both will be able to shoot in 1080p at 30 frames per second and nothing more. I noticed that the autofocus during video doesn't work as well as other Android devices I've tried, like the Nexus 6, the LG G3, or the Note 4. Also, not having 4K video is a bit of a letdown considering these two devices are more than capable of shooting 4K. Needless to say, if you're more into video and not into photography, then these two are definitely not the right phones for you. So, at the end of the day, I believe the OPPO N3 is the far better camera phone here. From my personal experience, I found it to be more versatile than the HTC Desire Eye just because it offers more of an exciting shooting experience. It offers a ton more shooting modes that I can see myself using on a daily basis. Oh, and come on, that's swivel action. The HTC Desire Eye is an awesome phone as well. The 13 megapixel camera is good enough for the average person, and I personally would rather have the 2 dedicated cameras instead of the motorized swiveling one, just because I'm scared that the motors inside the camera module could break in a few years or so. But if we're basing it off of quality, then the OPPO N3 is the winner here. Anyways, that's it for this video, guys. If you guys want to check out the sample photos, make sure to check out the links down below. Make sure to check us out at technobuffalo.com for the latest and greatest tech news. And as always, I'm Mark Linsanger from Techno Buffalo. I'll see you guys in the next one. Thank you guys so much for watching this video, and if you guys would like to see more tech-related videos, make sure to hit that subscribe button down below. And if you guys like video games, we're also on Twitch, so make sure to check us out at twitch.tv/technobuffalo.